Hello, and welcome back to the Norwegian campaign in Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. So, just got the Mark 5 5-inch gun, so we can untick that one, and let's see. Torpedo range? Maybe. In 6 months. That'll be perfect, because then we can just refit the new DDs we're building right after they've been finished. And that's the first thing we're gonna do today. It is now 1933. No wars yet, although some of the AI nations started fighting each other just a couple months ago. So I think it's only a matter of time until we get dragged into something. But as you can see, China has taken central Russia here via a naval invasion. So that's interesting. They kind of beat me to it. That was my plan. Taking central Russia, because you really don't need a lot of tonnage to do it. It's only got one port, and it's not super big. So that was kind of my long-term plan with Russia, taking central and northern Russia from them. So I guess I have to fight the Chinese again at some point and just take it. Anyway, also, Italy is back, kind of. Only with one province, though, and because they haven't existed since the what, mid 1890s or so, they're a bit behind. But there are some catch-up mechanics in the game to help them catch up. Anyway, let's design some DDs. So we got Modern Destroyer Standard and Modern Destroyer Leader. Let's see, this is a pretty big one. I'd say let's start by reducing the beam a little bit. Optimal speed 36 knots. I think we can try and make that. And this will be a little bit more gun focused than previous DDs. Although it will of course have some torpedoes. Let's just use that looks tiny. Well, it is tiny. -5, there we go. Alright, and we're gonna have to find a funnel for this. That doesn't fit. That is even bigger somehow. I guess that kind of works, like so. Once we give it oil too, and like so, and like that, we end up with something that kind of works. So 1941 tons with gear turbines too. What if I tried diesel? That's heavier and expensive. What about turbo electric? Also heavier. I kind of guessed that. This is also heavier, but a bit cheaper. 137 million versus 248 million. I mean, money isn't exactly tight at this point, but let's go 3,000, like so. Yeah, money isn't exactly tight at this point, but still. Let's see, again, funnel capacity 35. Get 50 with the biggest one. Might just have to make room for that one then. Actually, does this work? It kind of depends on where they allow me to put guns. No. That's as far forward as the A-turret can go. Can I put a secondary tower on that bit here? I can. That frees up some space. Okay, that works. That does work. And add one of these here. Maybe like so, and we can have some secondaries on this DD. 9 main guns is pretty decent. I typically don't go for secondaries on DDs, but you know, it might not be a terrible idea. Because they don't weigh much. And they actually have decent range. Yeah, that might work. As for torpedoes, I know this would primarily be a gunfighter, but in dip, the torpedo launchers weigh almost nothing. We can put a smaller. Okay, I didn't mean to remove both of those barbettes, but guess I did. Come on now. Don't be too fiddly when being placed. There we go. That works? That works. Okay. Yeah, these torpedo launchers weigh so little that I can... they will grow, of course, when I make them 24-inch, or whatever I end up with, but there we go. 138 million. Yeah, going down in natural boilers. Why? I thought I'd selected balanced. Okay, yeah, that... oh, I probably reset when I checked out the diesel engines. Alright. That may be what happened. Okay, so the funnel capacity wasn't that dire. Anyway, do we have enough tonnage to make this work? So it's already a pretty expensive DD, but with Mark 5 5-inch guns and 9 of them, it should be able to outgun some enemy DDs. And it even has a little bit of resistance. Let's just pack on everything and see what we have to take off. If I go 35.5, does that save me a lot of weight? Like, not really. Not really a whole lot. No. It saves about a 100 tons, which isn't that much. What if I go with oil 1? Oil 1 is lighter than oil 2. At least on some ships. It tends to vary a little bit. You can go down to double hull bottom and reinforced bulkheads 1. That saves a bit. I'm gonna have to make these bigger though. Not the greatest launch angles. It's a 64-ton funnel. If I remove that barbette thing, make it like so, save a bit of weight that way. Move that one further up. Okay. Kind of getting somewhere now. These turrets aren't even that heavy. Let's see, we can go with reduced ammo. Flash fire chance is not too bad. Especially not when we're gonna make it a little bit higher by using picric acid. Electrical turrets is fine. We're gonna have semi-auto though. What kind of torpedo range are we getting? 18.8 kilometers. That's pretty good. 159 million. Coincidence. I want sonar, and I would also like radar. We're 100 tons overweight. That's not too bad. I can flash fire chances less than 1%. I could just not have any barbette at all, but it doesn't weigh that much. Might as well keep it. Let's do it like that. I'm gonna have to reduce some of these things. If I make it 500 tons heavier, we're no longer overweight. But I have to change some things around. It gives me a better angle for those things at least. Put those back there. Oh, it's like very finicky with where it can be placed. That funnel hitbox is bigger than it appears. Okay, so now I can actually place that there. Oh, it's got mountings for the secondaries. Nice. And put the turret back there. Okay. Okay. Now we've got something. Space these out a little bit so at least they have some decent angles. 183 million. That's a pretty expensive DD. But we're getting to the point where this might not be so bad. I'd like to have more pen with AP. So they can actually go through enemy DDs. With standard 0.8 inches, that's what they typically have. At 5,000 meters. That's doable. That is doable. Now, I need some armor. Like, I would like to do that. 14,000. It should be able to keep up. I've got more ports around now, so they shouldn't have to like sail across the globe. There we go. A little bit of armor. That didn't weigh too much, actually. Okay. So far, so good. 182 million. If I increase that, no, I cannot. Can't do that. Of course, if I were to go with geared turbines too, that would save a lot of weight. But it would also make my DDs a lot more expensive. This is pricier than many light cruisers. This is also pricier than many light cruisers, but at least yeah, it's not too bad for 1933, I think. Can I make these longer? How much to make them 40 calibers in length? Slightly increasing my penetration. There you go, 40. Yeah, 0.9 at 5,000 meters. That should allow me to go through some thin-skinned DDs. Let's see. Plus 65% shell damage. HE fire channels, but I don't really care about fire, do I? No, I think TNT-4 is actually better. Even for DDs and dip. In vanilla, back in the day, you'd make DDs with a lot of 5-inch guns, firing incendiary shells and using picric acid, and you'd just burn down enemy capital ships. No need to bother with the torpedoes. You just HE spam them to death. But that's kind of been now I can go maximum. Yeah, because I get minus 2% hull weight from TNT-4. TNT-4 is really, really good. Seeing as my flash fire chance is quite low. Cordites? .4%. That's not too bad. Now I can I think I can quite successfully engage enemy DDs out to like 7,000 meters. That's not bad at all. That's still not, no. No. I guess triple bottom also, yeah. Impossible. Electric 2, almost. And 1 ton over. I can find a way to save a ton. Just a single one, I think. Like there. Slightly moving that. Okay. Helga. I'd like a different name for it. So I've got the Viking class. That was very successful. And I even made a copy of it so I could build more of them, because these are very, very cost efficient torpedo delivery devices. And I had the Valkyries, which didn't really work too well in combating enemy DDs. I'm just gonna call it because it's 1933, Jager, meaning destroyer. That's a very kind of boring name, but there we go. It's a kind of name that a DD class would have, I think. So we're gonna build some of these, and I'm getting enough money now that the rather high price tag compared to previous DDs shouldn't be too much of a problem. Now, it's also time to build some new heavy cruisers. So let's see, we've got, what do we have? We got this one still, the large armored cruiser. We got heavy cruiser 2, that the, what are they called? I know I've built some of these. Heimdall. And Hugin classes. They're built on this hull, which is 60 resistance. I think that's the toughest armored cruiser hull. Ironclad cruiser. Why do I still have this one? Why is this still available? Huh? Shouldn't this have gone obsolete? Okay. I mean, no, I'm not gonna build this, but come on, go away. But we could do like a like a modern take on whatever it was called, the first armored cruiser I had in the campaign. Which I guess things just don't fit on this hull unless you make it really fat. There we go. You can have some funnels at last. Yeah, no. We're not doing this. Let's see, we've got modern heavy cruiser 1. Kind of a German looking hull, but it's only it's got these like default looking towers. That's a no-go for me. We got this one, also a very default looking hull with default looking towers. Modern heavy cruiser 3. Here we go. Like a German hull, kind of miniature Bismarck looking hull with some I think they're supposed to be like Russian towers, maybe? That's very compact. Can I fit funnels on this? No. Do I have to fit funnels in between then? I guess I do. Yeah, I can build a couple of these, and there was one more that I thought looked interesting. I'm gonna use these funnels then. If I max it out. Should get some decent resistance out of that. You really don't fit like that, do you? That's too bad, because it looks like there's a like gap here you can place funnels inside of, but no. It's just an illusion. So, like that then. .32 knots, because I'm building some 32 knot battlecruisers now. You're going turbo electric. Yeah, you can do 32 knots. Main guns. I got Mark 4 11s. And even they look kind of small on this big hull. Of course, the alternative would be quad 9s. We can do that on the next cruiser. This one is getting 11s. Let's see, like so. And like that. And like that, I guess. I don't like that secondary tower. It just looked a little bit too tall. That looks a bit more like it fits, kind of. Is that offset? Yeah, it is. There we go. And we are, of course, going to have a secondary gun super firing the B turret. But of course, I need to fiddle with some things first. Let's just move this further up. There we go. Or will that not work because this barbette here has that antenna thing on it? Maybe. Okay, secondary guns, 5-inch. Yeah, no, that needs some work. Oops. Didn't mean to take both of those guns away. There. There we go. I'm kind of surprised that 5-inch guns don't fit there. Maybe 4? No. Maybe 3? No. Okay. 2-inch. Two-inch guns fit. Empty barbette. Why are you empty? Okay, so they're not completely mirrored, but there's no weight offset, so I'm just not gonna fiddle with it. Just gonna leave it as is. Range is good. Perhaps better than it needs to be. Especially now. I can turn that all the way down. And we got some weight to spare. Crop 4 armor. Anti-torp, triple bottom. Let's increase the AP. Standard ratio? Maybe. No, let's go increase HE. Tube powder 3, which does give me increased range. And a lot of safety. 0% flash fire chance. Even with increased ammunition. And only barbette 3. 0.3 with barbette 2. It's not a big difference. If I go all the way down to barbette 1, yeah, maybe. If I need to save some more weight, I can reduce it further. Coincidence and radar. And we do start out with some armor on this thing. Okay. That's nice. And 8 is still the main belt maximum, yeah. Alright, yeah. So these guns here are 50 in length. Make them 55s. This is like a baby battlecruiser. But like, there's no law against that, so why not? Good, decent. If I make them 5.9s, they do not fit. But actually, I think it's only yeah, it's only that one that doesn't fit, because this one wasn't mirrored correctly. Now it fits. See, I should have taken the time to fiddle with it. Yeah, 5.9. That's 150 millimeter. It's a nice metric caliber. I mean, I can max out the anti-torp. Why not? Can I go with heavy shells as well? If I slightly reduce the anti-torp, that is doable. Increased my flash fire chance by a tiny bit, but it's still not too bad. 48 tons overweight, 1.6 flash fire chance. Not terrible. Resistance is 92. That's pretty decent for a heavy cruiser. Yeah, I can reduce some of this stuff here. Like so, for example, I can reduce the fore and aft decks a bit. There we go. That's still a very well armored heavy cruiser. Nice. I'm liking this. Can that turn all the way around? Almost looks like it. Yeah, that little pizza slice back here, it's yellow. That should mean it can turn all the way around. If I do it like that, it turns orange. And that's a no-go. Even though like the outer black line kind of intersects this barbette, the barrels aren't quite that long. So I'm guessing it works. Alright, there we go. Vidar. Decent. Liking it. We're gonna design one more though, because I have a very, very funky hull available. This one, which I remember from my my Italian campaign. Let's see, 17,000 is the max for this one too. And yeah, it should be able to be quite fast. Can I make it go 35? Or is that too much? Yeah, from 34 to 35 is a pretty big jump. I'm just gonna keep it at 32, because if it gets into divisions with these ones, and they have different top speeds, well, the formation thing doesn't like that. It just turns into a mess, I've found. So for that reason alone, I'm just not gonna make it as fast as it can be. Like so. And this is the one where the funnel kind of fits inside of there. Like so. And that should be the case with the secondary tower as well. Yeah. Alright. And we're going oil 2. Turbo electric. And balanced boilers. And the range is even turned all the way down. That range is pretty good. Okay. Main guns. Come here. Come on, you. There we go. adding some firepower to this. Torpedoes, maybe? Maybe we are doing torpedoes on this. Do I have that thing here? Yeah, I do. Okay. It is being a little bit difficult today. Come on. Okay, it doesn't want to go the way I want it to go, so we're just dropping that one and picking this one instead. No, we're not. We're doing that one and finding a barbette that can probably super fire it. There we go. Secondary guns. Ooh, I can put a lot of secondaries on this. Of course, they don't all fit in all the places, but there we go. As for torpedo launchers, do I want them along both flanks? I guess I do. Like that. Alright, that's a lot of firepower. And torpedo power. Let's see if we can make this work. Yeah, so far it does seem to be working. And it did give me some armor to begin with. Again. What kind of pen are we getting from these? Decent, actually. Despite only being 9-inch guns. This should be able to murder light cruisers with all these guns. That's nice. And we have to increase ammo, of course. That's gonna consume quite a bit of ammunition. Patch fire chance is 0. Semi-auto oxygen torpedoes, 24-inch. That works. Let's add some 2-inch guns here and there. Okay. So they don't actually fit here. Fine. Is it possible to put this any further? No. And like, that's as far forward as that turret can go. Forward offset 1.2%. 1.2%, does that mean anything at all? No, basically not. no way any of that is gonna be noticeable. Is that on the radar? Let's have a bit of conning tower armor. Good enough. Ooh, 7.2 is the maximum armor for these turrets. Is that the case if I make them longer? That tends to increase the maximum available armor. .5. Okay, 8.8 is the maximum armor on these turrets. If I make them 9.5s and a little bit longer. I guess these 5-inch secondaries have to be a bit longer as well. Or bigger. 5.9s. Still can't put too much armor on them though, but at least it's something. And I can put some armor on the barbettes. .5 on the third inner belt. That's quite impressive. And I still have some displacement left over to play with here. Heavy shells? Like the reload time is going up, but I don't think it's too bad. I think that's quite a interesting looking cruiser too. The very unique looking hull. What's your spotting range? Almost 30,000. That's pretty good. I can quite get that anti-torp 4. How about anti-flood 3? Not quite, but almost. We're almost there. 37 tons overweight. I should be able to shave that off from somewhere. Hmm. 2% flash fire chance, not too bad. Really. Yeah, we can threaten enemy or heavy cruisers at up to 10,000 meters. At least the main belts. Nope. There we go. 0.8 on the fore and aft decks. 1.8 on the main deck. I've got that third inner deck. It should keep me safe from most guns. Unless they're like really big battleship guns, but then I'm in trouble anyway. So, yeah. There we go. New heavy cruiser. And I'm liking it. Liking it so far. Let's see if we can build some light cruisers as well. And for some reason the ironclad light cruiser is still available, like the heavy cruiser was. I'm not sure if that was the case last time I built cruisers. Is this somehow something I unlocked that inadvertently made these go unobsolete? Because that's dumb enough that it could be the case. Maybe. Maybe that's why in that battle with China a couple episodes back, why they had some of these ironclad cruisers that had, despite being such an old hull, some not too obsolete components installed on them. So they weren't actually old ships. They were just built on hulls that shouldn't have been available that late. That could be the case. Let's see. Light cruiser. Modern light cruiser 2. Oh, looks decent. Let's set you to 10,000 tons. That is the minimum, apparently. 12,000? Right in the middle. Max optimal speed, 35 knots. Alright. Let's try and make it at 35 knots. And not sure what kind of engines I want. So we got that tower. That is the best one. These are going to follow my my battle fleets around and kind of screen for DDs. So I'm looking a bit at the torpedo spotting stat, because all sonar does is it modifies the torpedo spotting by a percentage. We can go with this funky double funnel. Turbo dual funnel. Yeah, sure. So that's with geared turbines. With turbo electric, 513 million. 348 with geared turbines too. That might be the middle ground here. Resistance is of course not that impressive for a light cruiser. I mean, for a light cruiser, it's actually not terrible. Let's go like that. So we got Mark IV 7-inch guns, Mark IV 6-inch guns. These look tiny. We're gonna go with 7s just because the 6s look too small. And 5-inch guns. I know I'm mixing main calibers here, but no, actually, let's not do that. You can put some of these here. That's a pretty bad firing angles for that turret. Here's what I can do. Let's go with a different funnel setup, actually. Two of those? No. 32. Turbo angled funnel. Some of these funnel names are kind of funny. If I go with one of those, and then one of those, that's what I did on one of my other light cruisers, which I think was also based on this hull, or at least something very, very similar. But I think having my funnels as two separate funnels instead of one double funnel is better, because then they can't be taken out by one hit, because they're actually two separate components. So in terms of redundancy and stuff, that is better. There you go, that works. Okay, and now for some 5-inch guns. That works, yes. All right. Kind of Cleveland-esque with 5-inch secondaries. Although I've got 7-inch primaries instead of 6-inch, but there we go. Should I keep these 3-inch guns or replace them with 2-inch? Yes. Alright. That's a lot of firepower. No torpedoes, but a lot of firepower. Now it's gonna become a little bit more pricey. I'm aware. Alright, still not overweight. Let's go standard ratio and increased HE. What kind of armor can we pen here? With HE, 0.8 at 7,500. 0.8 is kind of the magic number, because that's where you start to that's what enemy DDs typically have. Semi-auto, reloading. We of course want sonar. Torpedo spotting range, almost 2,500. 596 million, that's a pricey boat we've got here. Let's enlarge the turrets a bit. 0.8, still not 7,500. Yeah. That's just how it is then. I got plenty of ammo. If it runs out of ammo, it's probably spending too much time like on the actual front line and getting hammered by battleships, so we don't want that to happen. Okay, we can give it some armor. Maybe not. No, we're running out of weight here. We can drop down the range. Might have to do that. You can drop the main deck a bit. Okay, turret armor. There we go. There's that weight limit. Turret armor is kind of important. I've got a bit of an aft weight offset. Can I make this thing fit? There we go. Does that now fit too? Yes, it fits. And I can, if I need to, just remove this this secondary turret here. Yes, I think I will. I think I will have to. And then we're actually going with the 3-inch for this instead of the 5-inch, like so. All right. No longer overweight, but almost overweight. Let's see. Sometimes oil 2 is lighter, sometimes it isn't. Because there are different... well, this time it is lighter. Just a little bit. It seems to depend a lot on the ship. That's not too heavy, actually. 1.3 on the third inner belt. That's not too bad. That's also not too bad. Alright. We almost have something here. That's decent range on these 3-inch guns. Damn. 65 barrel length. Base. Flashfire chance is 0.4. 0.7. Good enough. Good enough. Mm. 7.2 on the turret sides. Last offer. Alright. 628 million for a light cruiser. It's a bit pricey, but if it can actually keep me safe from torpedoes, kind of. That's not amazing spotting range though, still. Even with sonar. And considering that enemy DDs probably are running oxygen torpedoes. Yeah, no, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's actually going to be very good at spotting enemy torpedoes, but if it kind of moves ahead of the main fleet and baits the enemy DDs to launching torpedoes at it, and then retreats, because it should be, yeah, it's fairly maneuverable, then maybe that'll work. But I'm not sure if the concept of keeping it close to the gun line, spotting torpedoes for it, I don't think that's like gonna work well at all. Because if you got what, minus 50 or minus 70% torpedo visibility, 2,500 meters is gonna be less than a kilometer pretty quickly. And then the torpedoes are basically on top of you. So, yeah. Also, since the last time, I've kept expanding my shipbuilding capacity, so we're closing in on 300,000 tons now. And, you know, still making decent money, even with building this and keeping all my ships crewed. So, yeah, despite being a bit pricey, I think we can afford to build some of these ships. Let's build some DDs first. Let's build 12 of them. That sucks up some money, but I've got a decent rainy day fund. 32 knot heavy cruiser. I can build 4 of those. Oops. I think I can build 2 of these. A little bit in the red now, but we should be able to weather that storm for the 8 months it takes to build the DDs. We got enough shipbuilding capacity left to build some of these light cruisers as well. Let's do 4 and then have them spread out among the task forces. Yeah, minus 347 million currently, but I can probably save on some of that just by making sure everything is set to limited. There we go, that saved a little bit. And I can set some of the expensive battleships to low crew, like the new Harald Hårfagre and Olav Haraldsson class of battleships, which will probably receive a refit as soon as the the shipyards are available again. Just because, well, I've got some new technology to add to them. Crop 5 coming in very soon. That'll be nice. I'm gonna have to find someone to fight until the next episode. Preferably not Italy or Greece. Greece actually has a navy again. I missed that. They must have rebuilt. Italy definitely does not have a navy. Russia doesn't have a navy. Portugal has 2 ships. Spain has somehow found enough money to build a navy. Germany, despite having a lot of money, has not built a navy. They're building one. Britain scrapped a bunch of ships a couple months ago, but they're building new ones, so it should be a formidable force again fairly soon. They're kind of busy fighting America and Russia. Okay. I will see you next time, whenever that is. Probably before the 1940s. We can have a couple more wars in this campaign before it ends. I'm curious to see if Italy will actually retake all of Italy, or if they're just gonna remain one tiny province and then go extinct again. Goodbye, and take care.